We're going to discuss the subconscious today. And, a lot of people, we have a lot of new viewers, a lot of new people have been asking about it because we haven't really gone into detail. We've been into other things. And so we want to circle back and cover the subconscious just so you know how easy it is to program your subconscious. Okay, so the subconscious looks for confirmation of what it already knows. Okay, so the subconscious is basically, it learns in repetition. You can train your subconscious in repetition. Okay, the easiest way to do this is with emotion and repetition. Okay, so women get this really fast, really quick because they're emotional beings. They feel things. Okay, and they use this in their affirmations, in their meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Okay, the four pillars that we teach. And this is really important because if you're doing repetition, good morning, Jay. If you're doing repetition and you're trying to put something into your subconscious, you need to do it with emotion. Okay, now some people say, well, I don't know if I'm feeling this. Okay, so here is another way to look at emotion. Okay, emotion is energy. So I teach 3-year-olds sometimes. Okay, and I teach them, and they do not understand emotion. If you tell a 3-year-old, oh, sing with more feeling, or give me more feeling, give me more feeling in your music or in your songs or whatever, a 3-year-old doesn't know that. Okay, but when you tell a 3-year-old, give me more energy, they can do it, and they do it right away. Okay, because they understand energy. So if you look at emotion like energy, so now you can instruct your subconscious with energy, and your subconscious will feel it as emotion. So the short answer is you don't have to feel what it is you're putting in your subconscious. So if you're doing your affirmations, meditation, vocalization, or visualization, okay, you don't have to necessarily like feely, touchy feely kind of feel. Okay, you don't have to really feel it, but if you put energy into it, okay, and I do this all the time, and you can demand things like, more money or opportunity or relationships or whatever it is. Okay, and today we're going to get into more about the subconscious and how it does this. Okay, because this isn't magic. Manifestation is not magic, it's your subconscious. Okay, so first, the subconscious looks for confirmation. It wants to validate what it already knows. And what does it already know? It already knows everything you do in repetition. So when you do something over and over, you get into the habit of doing it. When you get into the habit of doing it, your subconscious goes, oh, this is something we do? Okay. And then the subconscious starts to repeat it. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Hey, Masab, good morning. And when the subconscious begins to repeat it, it becomes a program. So if you want to look at a computer, okay, and compare it to in here, okay, the kingdom within, okay? So it's the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. The conscious mind is your operating software. The subconscious is your hard drive where the programs are stored. The superconscious is consciousness or God or universe or source, okay? So when you get into the superconscious explanation, when we get into that framework, now we start talking about all that is. We start talking about how everything is connected. We start talking about how the superconscious is whatever you refer to as your higher power, your higher self, the universe, source, God, all those things. And so we classify that as the superconscious. Why? Because that's important. It's very important. Okay, because there's a lot of things that happen that we can't explain. We have no explanation for. So these things we group in that category of the superconscious. So your subconscious is wired to protect your identity, to keep life predictable. Okay, that's the repetition. Conserve energy. Okay, to conserve thinking energy. Your subconscious does these things automatically, so you don't have to learn how to brush your teeth every morning. You don't have to learn how to drive your car every morning. Your subconscious just does it. Okay? Now, the other thing about the subconscious, right? Uh, Look at a fire hose, a fireman when they shoot the water, it's like this huge volume of water, right? So I want you to look at that as your conscious mind intaking data. Okay, so your conscious mind intaking data kind of resembles a fire hose, a large volume of information coming in all at once. Your subconscious has to like filter this somehow, okay? So this is why you have a reticular activating system. So a reticular, you're working on improving your English so I can better understand your lessons. Oh, thank you, Masab. Thank you. That's really cool. What country are you from? Let us know. What country are you from? So so what happens is your reticular activating system in your brainstem. So there's this whole bundle of nerves. It's called the reticular activating system. What it does, it filters out what's not important, what you're not focused on, and it focuses on what you're focused on. So it filters out all the things you're not focused on. So what happens is it works with your subconscious. So your subconscious is protecting your identity. Okay, it protects who you think you are. Okay, that's important to understand. Because if you think you're no big deal, if you think you're not so good of a person, if you have low self esteem, this is what your subconscious will label you as. And this will start coming back to you in repetition. Okay? So people that have trouble with confidence, people that have trouble with self esteem, people that, don't take too much pride in themselves, they get caught in this loop in the subconscious. Now, your reticular activating system filters out everything you're not focused on. So, what does the focus become in that situation? It becomes low self esteem. It becomes I'm less than. Okay? I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at whatever. Okay? But that's what the focus becomes. And your reticular activating system filters out all the things you're not focused on. So, how do you change this? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Okay, it's not difficult. It just takes a little bit of time every day, less than 15 minutes a day. Your meditation should just take 10 minutes a day. All you need is 10 minutes of still time. Okay, it's not meditation as in the popular, cultural sitting around going, It's not that. It's stillness. It's just stillness. Okay, you don't have to chant. You don't have to say, words you don't understand. You just have to be still. Because, like Jesus Christ said, the kingdom is within. It's in here. You need to go in the kingdom. Close your distractors like this and just be still. Okay, it's not about not thinking, it's about being still and receiving intuitive thought. Instead of your eyes looking at things, taking in sensory information and try to process that. Your eyes take in so much sensory information. Excuse me. Your conscious mind processes so much sensory information. So it's like that fire hose. It's like a huge volume of information just coming at you. And this is why you have a reticular activating system to filter out the non-essential information and just give you what you're focused on. So this is why people get into the negative loop, okay? You get into the negative loop because you start focusing on whatever it is that's negative. Or let's add this in, okay, because this is a real thing. Doubt and fear become habits. Fear becomes habits. So you know how people get alarmed when they watch the news or say, oh my God, look at that, right? So what do you think the subconscious starts to focus on? Your subconscious is responsible for repetition. Okay, so it learns in repetition, but then it repeats. It starts feeding back the same information. And then you get caught in that loop. So if fear is a part of your day, Let's say you spend time fearing because you're scrolling and you see things that scare you. Or let's say that you think a certain news story is spooky, so you start following the story. Maybe you look for it on in newspapers, maybe you look for it again on television, then you look for it again online. Maybe it's about a war somewhere or whatever. And you start looking at it and you start fearing because you're concerned about it. Now it becomes a program. The subconscious goes, "Oh, we're fearing? Okay." And it starts to fear and it starts to doubt. Who does it doubt? It doubts you. You start doubting yourself. What does that do to manifestation? Or let's say goal setting or goal accomplishment. What does it do to that? It just pushes it away like this. Okay? Because your subconscious wants to validate what it already knows. And if you're feeding it fear, if you're feeding it violence, if you're feeding it bad stuff, okay, then it's going to start confirming what it knows, what you have taught it. Okay? And when you do this, you're going to get those results, negative results. Now, if you focus on positive stuff, same thing. Okay? So this is why when Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, either way you're correct. Because you choose the direction you want to go. Okay? So we're gonna tell you a little bit more about how this works. So when people say the subconscious protects your identity, what is it talking about? Your subconscious is designed to keep your self-image and your view of the world consistent. Okay, so let's say you think that you're not too smart. So the subconscious job is to keep that in your head. It keeps you thinking that. And it goes around in a circle. It's wash, rinse, repeat. Okay? Even if those beliefs are limited or limiting or negative, whatever, it's going to keep it going. So you're going to feel bad about yourself. You're going to feel like you don't really matter. You're going to feel like you don't really count. Okay? It acts like a guardian of who I am and how life works because sameness feels safe and predictable to the nervous system. Now, this is all about humans evolving, okay? This is about evolution. This is why we're designed like this. Okay? So it filters reality to confirm what you already believe. So the question is, what do you believe about yourself? You know, do you believe you're smart? Do you believe you're capable? Do you believe you're kind? Do you believe you're generous? So all of these things. And it starts to bring these things into fruition. Okay? So there's something called confirmation bias. Okay? So the thing about confirmation bias is that if you believe, let's say for example you don't trust people. Okay? Let's say that people have betrayed you. Let's say that people have cheated you or been dishonest with you. Now you don't trust people. Okay? So that becomes a program in your subconscious. So when you meet someone, your subconscious looks for confirmation bias. Okay? And when you see something in that person, or when you see something in a group of people, or whatever it is, and you start to identify these things that they're doing that you feel you can't trust them, your subconscious goes, you see, right here. That's one of those things. You can't trust that guy, or you can't trust that group, or you can't trust that situation. And this is confirmation bias. Okay? You selectively notice what matches your beliefs. So it's all a reflection of your beliefs. Okay? So whatever you believe, that's the direction your life is going to go. Okay? Now, the reticular activating system in your brainstem is a filter. Okay? It filters what you're not focused on. Okay? It filters in priority, actually. Okay? Because what matches your beliefs, what matches your goals, Okay? What matches repeated thoughts and emotional importance. Your reticular activating system will favor all of these things. Okay? And the reason why is because the conscious mind takes in all this data. You see so many things, you experience so many things in one day. It has to filter it out. Otherwise, you would be overwhelmed all the time. Too much data, too much information. Okay, if you just look around, you see cars passing, you see dogs barking, whatever. This is sensory information. And you would get overloaded. Okay, and it would be overwhelming. So this is why you have a reticular activating system. Now, that being said, this works for you and against you. Okay? Like Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, either way. Okay? So it's up to you to choose. Okay, we have to choose. We have to make the choice. So let's say we choose to look through a positive lens. Let's say we want to be optimistic versus pessimistic. Okay, so what do we start to do? Well, the reticular activating system starts to look for the positive side of something. Because there is the positive and negative side of everything. Everything has two sides. You can look at it one way or the other way. So your reticular activating system starts to be trained to look for the good things. You know, oh, my ashtray dropped on the floor and it cracked, it broke, I had to throw it away. What's the good part? Oh, I get to buy a new one. Okay. Are you angry? No, you're not angry. Why? Because you can't wait to get to the store so you can buy a new one. It's just an example, okay? But this is what it does. It looks for the good parts of things. Now, what about pessimism? Oh, yeah, so it's going to look for all the things that are wrong with it, all the things that are bad about it, all the things to be sad about, all the things to be angry about, all of that. So when this happens, if you're like that, or if you have become like that, okay, because your subconscious gets trained, and you don't even know, because you listen to TV commercials, right? It's on in the background, maybe when you're eating in the kitchen, and it's in the living room, and you hear it, and it's soft, but that's when your subconscious picks it up. Okay, TV commercials, radio in the car driving to work, commercials in the car driving to work, all of these things, you get programmed like automatically. Okay, bad news, all things like that. Thank you, guys. But all of these things begin to program you over time. You don't notice it. You don't notice it because it doesn't happen in one day. It doesn't happen in 1 week. It doesn't happen in 2 weeks. Okay. I was telling you about how I was involved in advertising for 40 years. Okay, I have a company that still advertises for companies. It's called VMAC Consultants. You can look us up. It's a thing. It's a real thing. It's online. We have a website. You can look us up. We also have a Facebook page with all kinds of work over the years that we've done. So there's all kinds of things on VMAC. But here's the thing, right? It takes 2 weeks for an idea to sink in. Okay, let me put it in another perspective. It takes 2 weeks if you, let's say, create a TV commercial, or let's say you're creating a commercial on social media, and you boost it or you advertise, right? Okay, so in 2 weeks, that person kind of looks at your product in a different way. They kind of look at your product and they go, that's not bad, right? Then they start accepting your product. Wow, yeah, that looks kind of cool. And then what? And then they go, maybe I'll try that. And then they buy it. Okay? This works the same way with music. You ever been listening to the radio and you don't like the song when you first hear it, but after 2 weeks you go, that's a pretty cool song. You start tapping your feet to it. You start accepting it. Pretty soon you buy it, or you add it to your playlist, or whatever. If you're streaming, you add it to your playlist. But this is how it works. Human beings are impressionable. Even though we don't like something at first, we can get to like it in repetition. When you hear it over, that's why radio stations, in case you didn't know, And I can confirm this. They run like 23 to 25 songs in their playlist. That's their playlist. The whole day for 24 hours, 25 songs rotating. That's it. There's not 100 songs in a day. They keep rotating the whole thing. That's why when you're driving to work, you hear the same songs as when you're driving home from work. Because the idea is to make these songs popular so that they sell, so that you stream, okay, so that you listen because you enjoy it, and then you listen to the commercials. Okay, radio is really about, it is about the music. But if you like the music and you come for the music, you're going to endure the commercials. Sooner or later, you're going to be attracted to the music and the products. Okay, and you'll be a loyal follower or audience member of the radio station, and you'll be a fan, and all those things happen. So another thing about your reticular activating system, when you start to, let's say, focus on something, let's say it's a car, because I always use that analogy. Let's say it's a red, BMW convertible. Okay, let's say you buy the convertible or lease it, and then pretty soon you see like all the other red BMW convertibles, right? And you go, wow, I never knew there were this many. It's because your focus was on the car, okay? It's because you were excited that you got the car. Or if you go online, you see the car, you get excited about it. Yeah, I want that car. I love that car. Okay, you get excited about it. It makes you feel something. That feeling goes into your subconscious. Your reticular activating system blocks out everything you're not focused on. And then you start seeing it. Okay, you start seeing it online, right? Every time you go online, okay, that's the algorithm. The algorithms do that on purpose. They serve you ads, they serve you what you like. It learns, the algorithm learns what you like. Now, how does that work in the real world? Well, your reticular activating system knows, your subconscious knows, because you've been looking at it a lot online. Guess what happens? In real life, okay, you go from online to real life with no algorithm, and now your reticular activating system pulls out all these red BMW convertibles. That's how it works. So a lot of people don't understand that when they start out here, it ends up in the physical world, whatever they're interested in. Because this is how intelligent you are. This is how highly intelligent you are as a human being. Okay? So the subconscious also creates pathways, but indirectly. Okay? Because once the subconscious accepts an idea, okay, as real or important, significant, okay, it begins nudging your behavior. Let's say you become confident. Let's say you're working on confidence. Let's say you're writing affirmations for confidence. Here's a pen. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. That's your affirmation. Let's say that you're doing it properly. You're writing it in the morning. You're speaking it out loud before you turn off the light to go to sleep. Every night. And you do this for 66 days. Okay, now after 2 weeks, you'll feel a shift. Like I said, radio commercials 2 weeks, affirmations 2 weeks. It's not going to totally pull you in, okay, but you'll feel a shift and you'll feel like a little interested. You'll feel the difference, okay? So when this happens, right, how does your behavior change? Well, it starts to adjust because you start to feel, the key word is feel. You start to feel confident. Then what? Well, your body language adjusts. I was working with these little 7, 8-year-old girls, and they started puffing their chest out. They started like like they wanted to fight, and they were singing. And so for me, I wanted to see like what's making them so confident. What's doing this? It was their voice. It was the vocalization process. And I was making a mistake when I was teaching them. I was just having them do it as strong as they can. And then I found out it was activating hormones, oxytocin, endorphins. It was increasing GABA levels, increasing serotonin levels. And they became unstoppable. They became confident, like super confident. So we started using this in life coaching. We started using this in my coaching program the same way. So when this happens, the subconscious starts shaping your body language. It starts nudging your behavior, so you start to behave confidently. You start to walk confidently. You start to sit up straight when you're sitting up at a table. You don't slouch like this. You sit up straight. Why? Because you feel good inside, because you're confident inside. It starts altering your decisions or influencing your decisions. All of this starts happening. Most of it starts happening within 2 weeks. In 3 months, 3 to 4 months. Oh my gosh, you should see these little kids in 3 to 4 months. It's amazing. Okay. It starts to increase your intuition. How does it do that? It starts to quiet down your inside, your thinking. You know, the overthinking, overthinking, anxiety, fear, all of that. It's all rooted in fear. Fear is your lowest vibration. So the overthinking, the anxiety, the nervousness, all of that, it starts to calm down. So what gets stronger? Your intuition. Why does it get stronger? Because now you tune into that voice. What voice is that? It's the superconscious, or consciousness, or God, or Jesus Christ, or those things, all in that category. And now you're listening to God. Now you're listening to Source. Now you're listening to infinite intelligence. And you're getting that intuitive thought. It comes from the right side, the right brain, the right hemisphere of your brain. But now that thought, you hear it in your voice, okay? You're hearing your voice, okay? You're not hearing voices. That's an illness, okay? So you're hearing your voice, but you hear it clear because now you have clarity, because now you're not focused on worrying. Now you're not overthinking. Now there's no anxiety. And now when you're clear or have more clarity, now you focus on intuitive thought because you hear it more clearly. Because there's no preoccupation with any other thoughts. Okay, because all of that settles down. So your intuition increases. Okay. Your awareness increases, overall awareness. You become very aware, okay, of everything around you. Okay, things that you didn't notice before because you were too busy thinking about something else, now you see it. Now you're aware of it. Okay, it also guides your problem solving. So you have a problem, you can think it through more clearly. Why? Because there's no other rubbish up here going around in circles, worrying about stuff. So worrying is like praying for something bad to happen. You're just begging for something bad to happen when you're worrying about something. Okay, how do you stop worrying? Say stop when you get the thought and switch your thinking to something else. Now, the best way to do that is visualization. Okay, get a picture that you love. Okay, it could be you could make something like this. So we're gonna get into vision boards. This is a vision board. Okay, it's on my lock screen, and we're gonna teach you guys how to do that once we get into the new year because we're in the holidays right now. But we're gonna go over that. So what I do is I say stop. I pick up my phone. I look at my phone, and now I'm there. Now I see what's on the and they're just a bunch of pictures, but they're pictures of things either I love or my company or goals, whatever goals I have, And this is a thing, look it up. Okay, this is all subconscious training. And why is that important? Because I don't want to be thinking of things I'm worried about. And if I'm worried, I want to say stop and refocus. Stop, refocus. It's all about training your mind. And pretty soon you don't need to look at images, pictures. You don't need to look at pictures. You can just say stop and you control your mind. Your mind directs somewhere else. In the beginning, it's if you are what I call a chronic worrier, like you always worry. I had an uncle like that. Oh, he was a great uncle, actually. My grandfather's brother, worried about everything. And he would express it. Okay, so in his subconscious, it just kept repeating over and over and over. You know, my grandfather was a grumbler. And these were great guys, you know, and I loved them both. But one had the habit of worrying and one had the habit of grumbling. And my grandfather grumbled about everything. He was a kind man, he was a good man. And my great uncle, he worried about everything. You know. So that's how we spoke of them in the family. Oh, Uncle Louis is a worrier, Grandpa's a grumbler. Okay, but these were subconscious programs. They had no idea, of course. I had no idea. I was just a kid. Okay, but that was what was going on. So these subconscious programs, it's called the subconscious for a reason. It's underneath everything. You don't notice. Okay, you just think that you're experiencing this thing over and over and over. The same results keep happening. Some people think they're unlucky. Some people think they're cursed or whatever. Some people think God doesn't like them. But no, it's their subconscious. And like I was saying yesterday, if you're praying for God's blessing for something, but your subconscious is giving you something to the contrary, okay? So let's say you're praying to God for a new car, and in your subconscious, you believe that you don't deserve a new car, or nobody in your family ever had a new car, so new cars are not for you, or whatever the belief is, the contrary belief, you're not going to manifest the prayer. The prayer will not come true. Why? Because there's resistance in your subconscious that you don't even know about, because you're not consciously aware. It's underneath the surface. So what do you need to do? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Okay? The meditation is just sitting still, going into God's kingdom. This is God's kingdom. You are God's kingdom. Jesus Christ said, the kingdom is within. But you are the ruler of your kingdom. You are the king or queen of your kingdom. So you need to take charge of your kingdom. Okay? You need to rule over your kingdom and not let your kingdom rule you. Okay, that's a metaphor. Okay? But when you do this, when your actions line up with your deeper expectations in your subconscious, manifestation comes easy. It comes easy. Does it come quickly? No, sometimes you have to be patient. But the effort level is much lower. Okay? When you have goal-seeking behavior, okay? So you're seeking, right? The subconscious acts like an autopilot. It's on autopilot. It rehearses possibilities. It looks for possibilities. It tries to confirm possibilities. Okay? It helps you notice resources. It pulls them out with the help of the reticular activating system in your brainstem. You start to notice it because that becomes your focus. Okay? And this is why they say, right? Energy flows where attention goes. That's, but those things are so vague. I'm here trying to explain it to you, like specifically how it works. Okay? It's not magic. People are so vague about this because they want to sell you their course. They want to, whatever. Okay? I'm not trying to sell a course. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to affect more people. I'm here to take the blinders off your eyes so you understand what's going on. So you understand why certain prayers are not being answered. So you understand why you think that bad stuff happens to you all the time. You're stuck in that belief. Okay? So this is what it is. Okay? So your subconscious is like an internal GPS. The conscious mind sets the destination, but your subconscious finds it. Your subconscious pulls these things out so that you have an easier time with things. Okay? The subconscious figures out the direction. Your conscious mind says, okay, we're going whatever. We're going to get the promotion. Your subconscious figures out what route are we going to go? What are we going to do? Oh, well, you could, to get the promotion, you could go to night school. Oh, you could go do this, you could do that, you could do this, you could do that. And pretty soon you get all these ideas. The superconscious, okay, conscious, subconscious, superconscious. The superconscious gives you intuitive thought regarding the plan. Okay, but the plan has to go in your subconscious first. Okay? And this is why confident people take more chances. Why? Because it's already committed to memory. It's already in their subconscious. Okay? People who expect rejection send rejecting signals. It's in your personality when that happens. If you doubt yourself, when you present yourself to, I don't know, a job interview or something, right? They see it. It's there. And they see, oh, this person doesn't have confidence. Another person comes in and they have confidence. Oh, okay, we'll hire this one. We'll hire this person. You see? Because your subconscious starts sending signals and your body language responds. Like these little girls, right? I taught these 7, 6, 7, 8-year-old girls. And they start standing like this. They start walking confident. They start bringing their voice out. They start doing all this stuff. Why? Because in their subconscious, they have validated themselves. In their subconscious, they're like, yeah, I'm doing good. You know, which is why in my teaching, both in the life coaching and the voice teaching, I don't use any negatives at all. Here's why you don't use negatives as a teacher. Okay, if you're taking any class or course or anything from any teacher, and they use negatives, find another teacher. Here's why. If somebody comes to me, okay, either whichever, okay, my executive clients are in the life coaching side, and just random people that want to sing are in the voice coaching side. And if I say, no, not like that, like this, and if I say, don't do it like that, do it like this, or if I say that's wrong, don't do it like that, do it like this, you know what registers in their subconscious? Don't, wrong, not, all the negatives. And when they're on their way out, or now we do online. So when it's done, I will have built new walls, new obstructions in their mind. And they'll be saying like, oh, Junior said not like that. Oh, Junior said I was doing this wrong. Junior said you see? And what have I done as a teacher? What have I done? I have built walls in their subconscious. And this is how people get issues from people in authority. It's in my book. So I wrote this book years ago. Okay, and we made it really affordable. It's on Amazon. The Universal Law of Attraction and Singing. Okay? And I have a chapter in here. I have to look at it again and to tell you the title. But it's about people in authority that start saying things, and because they're in authority and you hold them to a high respect, okay, or you think highly of them, it's devastating when they say stuff, negative stuff, okay? Chapter 5, the earth-shattering carelessness of authority, okay? And I wrote about that because this one lady came to me, and she was in her 40s. She was like 42 years old. And she came to me and she said, when I was in college, that was 23. When I was in college, my professor said I should find something else to do. She was talking about singing. She went to college, she enrolled in music class, and her professor said, well, you should find something else to do. Singing is not for you. And it shattered her. And she was 42 years old when she showed up in my office. And guess what? She could sing. Maybe the professor was having a bad day, whatever, but she dropped out of that class and she clammed up. And she did not sing until she came to me. She goes, you know, I'm 42 now, and I was just curious. I just want to see if I can. Of course you can. Any human can sing. You know what singing is? It's pattern recognition and repetition in the subconscious. That's all it is. And instead of pattern recognition with things, it's with your voice. That's all. In my life coaching, we don't use negatives because we're teaching positivity, because we're teaching achievement, how to achieve, the mechanics of achievement and positive repetition. Okay, spiritually, it works the same way. Spiritually, physically, mentally, it works the same way. Okay, so when we talk about the superconscious, right now we kind of cross into the spiritual side, right? Because we're talking about consciousness. So if you look at it like a computer, the conscious mind is the operating system. Okay, the subconscious is the hard drive where the programs are stored, and the superconscious is the network we're all plugged into. Okay, and that's in here, awareness. We are all awareness. We are all aware. There's a separation between the body and the spirit. Okay. But many people start experiencing synchronicities. What does that mean? That means you're standing on the corner of the street talking to your best friend about, well, on the weekend, I'm going to go to this steakhouse and get steak, and you see the meat truck drive by with the picture of the cow on it. And you go, oh, I was just talking about steak. There goes the meat truck. Okay, these things happen. Now, online, it's different. If you're online, there are algorithms that will keep feeding you what you like. So whatever you click on, the algorithm goes, oh, okay, let's give her more of that or give him more of that. You know, and if it's steak, it'll start showing you steak houses and meat and all kinds of stuff. But these synchronicities through the superconscious happen in person. And these synchronicities are not easily scientifically explained. Okay? The other thing is being at the right place at the right time. Being at the right place at the right time, and boom, something happens and you go, wow, it's a coincidence. Now, if you believe in God, or you believe in Source, or you believe in universe, or you believe in Jesus Christ or Allah, then you have an explanation. Then it's not a coincidence. If you don't believe in God, then it's just a random thing that keeps happening, right? Random coincidences keep happening. I don't think so. In my experience, and I've had tons of experiences, God is real. Awareness is real. Okay? There's a separation between the body and the spirit. The body dies. Okay? These things are going to get old. I won't be able to play my guitar. I won't be able to write. Okay? And then I'll have to leave the body behind. But does the inside feel any different? Ask yourself, do you feel any different at 20 than you did at 16? At 30 than you did at 20? At 40 than you did at 25? The answer is no. You're the same person. Okay? In here, you're the same spirit. You're not your body. You're not your name. You're that spirit that lives in here. And the spirit has control over the body all day long, every day, all the time. Your spirit is what gives you your power. Your spirit is what attracts everything to you. Okay, but it does it through your subconscious. Your subconscious reacts off of what you feed it. So if you feed it fear, if you feed it uncertainty, if you feed it low self-esteem, it will learn it and it will repeat it for you over and over, People that I see that come to me with low self-esteem, I turn that around in 3 months easily. How do we do that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, and proper instruction and prayer. Okay, if you're religious, some of my clients are spiritual, they're not religious. But for my religious clients, they pray. So when you get inspired ideas that align perfectly with what it is your target is, right? Like, I want this job, or I want this relationship, or I want whatever it is you want, material things. Is it against spirituality to want material things? No, not at all. But it's not something to put your faith in. Okay? A lot of people put their faith in money. They worship money. You cannot serve God and mammon. You cannot serve God and money. What does that mean? Well, if you think that money is the only thing that's going to do something for you, right? I know this guy I used to work with. He was a comedian, a really, really good comedian. And one day he told me, it's about money or it's about nothing. And I was like, oh, when he told me that, I was like, whoa. I didn't say anything. I just, inside, I was like, whoa, because that's dangerous thinking. Very dangerous thinking, because you cannot have your faith in God and money at the same time, right? Because that's saying you're going to follow God or you're going to follow money. People that hold credit cards like this, like they worship the credit card and they hand it to you like that, they worship money. Money is that sacred to them. Okay? And this is why they say you cannot serve God and mammon. Okay, mammon is money. So the superconscious provides alignment with the subconscious. When the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious are all in alignment, in other words, you're working on the same thing, there's no doubt in the subconscious, because the subconscious believes what the target is that is set by the conscious mind. The superconscious gives intuitive thought to the conscious, to the subconscious. And then what happens? Well, then they're all on the same page. They're all directed at the same thing. So if it's the job you want, the job happens. Sometimes it doesn't happen at the company you want to go to. But then eventually it happens somewhere else. Okay? And sometimes the door doesn't open for that thing that you're targeting, but you take a little detour, you go out in left field, and boom, you get a job, or you get something else, or something better, and you go, wow. And then when you look back, right, you go, wow, if I would have gotten that job that I wanted, yeah, that would have ended up really bad, because now you can see it, because you're not in it, right? But sometimes you can't see it. So don't get disappointed if the doors don't open. If the doors don't open, it was probably not meant to be. But something will happen. Something will give. Something will open. Because God is real. Okay, now you could call it superconscious alignment, when God starts working. You could call it superconscious alignment, higher guidance, universal mind, manifestation. You could put any label on that you want. But we are all plugged into a higher intelligence. Let's put it that way. Personally, I bring up things from the Bible because I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I say the Our Father, the Lord's Prayer. I say that every day. But I tend to say thank you, God, instead of thank you, Jesus, because Jesus always pointed to the Father, always spoke of the Father. And there's some other reasons why too, in that happened in the Bible, but that's irrelevant for the discussion. So whatever it is you believe in, whoever you believe in, I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but whatever it is you believe in, just understand that if you give your problems to that. If you surrender to that, what does that mean? That means instead of trying to do it your way, your way, your way, okay, let go and let God. That's what Christians say. They say, let go and let God. They say, walk by faith and not by sight. What does that mean? When you listen to intuitive thought, when you listen to that voice, you're going to hear it in your voice. But when you get those thoughts and you go, wow, yeah, maybe I should do that. So you're driving down the road, you get the thought to turn right over here, and you override it with your logic, left brain. Okay? Intuition is right brain. Okay? Right hemisphere of the brain. You dismiss it because you have freedom of choice, you have logic, and you go straight down the road and you get stuck in the traffic jam. What do you say? You go, I knew I should have turned back there. Because you did know. You actually did know. Follow that voice more often. It will serve you. I swear. Because as I started clearing in here, and this was in 2007, okay, as I started clearing in here, the intuition gets stronger, the guidance gets stronger. So as you rely on that guidance, as you rely on the inner voice, as you rely on intuition, you're going to find that you start making better decisions. Okay, as you clear, as you relax inside. Okay, that's what the vocalization part is for. But when you relax inside, you're going to find that clarity brings better decisions. Better decisions bring better outcomes. So the subconscious tree, the roots are your core beliefs. Can you change these beliefs? Oh yeah, you can rewrite your subconscious. Okay, but you need to write it a little at a time. Why is that? Because you don't know what you believe. Let me say it again. You don't know what you believe. Okay? You know some things, but this is subconscious. There are things that have been installed in here from TV commercials, from radio commercials, from things online, from websites, from your friends. Things they tell you over and over again. You think about it over and over, it becomes a belief. A belief becomes a thought you keep thinking. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. So what happens? Well, these core beliefs form your paradigm. Your paradigm is the way you see the world. Your paradigm becomes your behavior, right? You establish your behavior from the way you see the world. Then what happens? Well, then you have actions up here, the fruits of the tree. Then you have action. What happens with the actions? When you do an action, you get a result. It's not rocket science. It's really not. If I explain it in scientific terms, yeah, it's kind of confusing. It is. But when you look at the tree like this and you go, oh, okay, so if I want to do random actions, can I get random good results? Yes, of course. Whatever you do comes back to you. So you commit a good action, you get a good result. Bad action, bad result. Okay? If your judgment is a little off, because maybe there's conflicting thoughts in your subconscious, or your conscious mind is thinking one thing and subconscious has another belief, then you have conflicting thoughts. Then you don't know which one to choose because there's no clarity. Then what happens? Then you make a bad decision. So you create a bad action. Then you get a bad result. Can you do a random action to get a good result? Sure, absolutely. What happens then? You get a good result. But if you want to get good results over and over again as a program, you need to program the subconscious. That's all. Very simple. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Okay, so if you guys go online and you put my name in a browser or AI or anything and put teaching method, you're going to get my method. It's called the forward method. It's also on the website, hereforyoulifecoaching.com. My clients change their lives in 3 to 4 months. And that's not, it's only once a week, okay? So 1 hour once a week. In 3 to 4 months, their whole lives look different. Why? Well, because they believe different things now. Why is that? Because they keep writing, they keep meditate, or let's say sitting still and closing their eyes and being with God in the kingdom. Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. That's the title of my new book. It's coming out this year or next year. Next year. It's not this year yet or next year yet. So, but so affirmations, meditation, vocalization, okay? Speak whatever it is you want. There was an old thing in the 90s. They used to say, speak the dream. What they were talking about is when you vocally describe something, words have power, words have vibration, okay? Words carry heavy definition to the human being. Human beings respond to symbols, words, shapes, and colors. Okay? So when you speak the dream or you speak your goals, don't speak them to other people. You might get haters. You might have haters. And if you have haters, you're lucky. Okay? Love your haters. But speak those goals to yourself out loud, like in the bathroom mirror, in your room when nobody's there. Okay, to yourself, but speak them out loud. Articulate them out loud. Because it goes into your subconscious faster than anything else. Your subconscious responds to your image and your voice. Okay, and you can write it as well, right? That's the affirmation part. You write it, but your voice goes into your subconscious faster. That's why when you get angry and you swear and stuff like that, your subconscious is listening. Pretty soon, what? You don't feel good about yourself. Why? Because you're articulating this stuff, this bad stuff. Or you're talking bad about somebody, or you're talking bad about an experience, or you're talking bad about whatever. The root word is bad. Okay? Then you start to feel bad. Okay, your subconscious doesn't know if you're talking to yourself or somebody else. It does not judge. It cannot judge. It doesn't know. The only thing your subconscious knows is when you tell it to do something, it goes, okay. It's an order taker. It's like you're an officer in the army or something and you're giving an order and your subconscious listens. Okay? Right now, my subconscious doesn't know if I'm talking to you or if I'm talking to me. So all of this is being reiterated into my subconscious as I tell it to you. It works the same for you. And that's why what goes around comes around. Okay? What goes around comes around in your subconscious. That karma thing, if you think there's some kind of magic genie out there somewhere with karma and he's going to hit you with something if you do something wrong. No, you do it to yourself. You judge yourself. God doesn't judge. God is love. God is love. Let me say it one more time. God is love. You were born in God's energy, in that love energy, in the energy that is in here, in your spirit. You never saw an angry baby, right? Babies are happy, right? Until they grow up and things happen, okay? And life happens to everybody. So don't feel bad when things go wrong, because you can right it. You can make it right. You can rebound. You are resilient as a human being, okay? So just remember, just go look up my name and whatever. I'm doing these broadcasts so I can hit larger groups of people. Okay, this is not about me signing you up. There's no sales pitch. Okay, we're thank you, Jay. Jay's like, we're done. See you tomorrow. Okay, but there's no sales pitch. I'm not here to sell you stuff. Okay, if you want to work with me, go to the website here for you, lifecoaching.com. But I'm not here to sell stuff. I cannot handle everybody on my calendar. Okay, I cannot. My calendar is almost full. It's almost always full. But here's the thing: if I can affect more people, then all I want to do is, because you got the blinders on like this from a lot of things in society, all I want to do is remove the blinders so you can see, and then you go, oh yeah, okay. I've been paying attention to the TV commercials. I've been paying attention to the politicians. I've been paying attention to the church. I've been paying attention, whatever you're paying attention to. But it gives you your sense of self. It gives you your sense of life. It gives you your sense of purpose. And if those things don't line up, if there's no, if there's no alignment, then you think one thing, your goal is over here. Or your goal is over here and you think something else. And nothing's working in your life and you go, wow, I'm just not lucky. And the guy over there, he gets all the breaks. He gets the good jobs. He gets the girls. He gets this. He gets that. Whatever. And me, I got nothing. And you will feel like that, and that will be the program in your subconscious that you will have to get over. Okay? But the good news is you can. Okay? Just write affirmations against whatever it is that's bothering you. Okay? You feel bad, you have low self esteem, start writing. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. There you go. Okay. All right, you guys. So until tomorrow, we do this every morning at the same time, 7 to 8 on from Hawaii time. So 7 in the morning Hawaii time. For most of you, I see are in Europe. You guys are in Africa. You guys are in the East Coast. So you guys are like 5 hours and 12 hours ahead of me. So anyway, it's tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Miss Sunshine, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Brita. Thank you, Sana. Take care, you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.